Hey, what's happening, my fearless friends? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode. So I want to chat with you guys a little bit today on building your network marketing business with kids in the house. Now, with this whole stuff that's been going on and many kids not being in school, and we're used to them being in school, and you're potentially homeschooling or helping out with your kids if that's the case, and you've got kids in the household and you've got this business, that's, especially with young kids, that's a tough thing to juggle. Now, look, I have kids that are now 14 and 16. I've been very fortunate to have a wife that has been home while I'm running the company, running the business, and so she's been able to tend to the children's needs throughout the day. But some of you might not be in that situation, and so I want to share with you some ideas on how you can handle that situation, especially with really young kids, because they could be coming in and running in on any, without notice and clawing at you. And of course, with young children, you've got to, tend to their needs. So here's something. The first thing I want to say is this. I don't think you need to apologize to your prospects for kids that are making noise, okay? I think that most people that you're, look, here's the deal. Like when we're working in an office in a brick and mortar business or, outside the home and it's adults only and your kids are wherever they are, there's typically not kids around, right? And you don't hear kids crying or dogs barking or, things happening. That's just not a normal routine at work. Most people don't take their kids to work. So then you're working at home and you're talking to a prospect and, who knows, during any video, my dog might bark. I'm not going to apologize for my dog barking. I wouldn't apologize for hearing a noise outside of my door with my kids making a noise to the prospect. And I think, the thing you have to understand is these are people that would probably love to be able to work at home and be at home with their children. And so I've never apologized for any kind of, situation where my kids might be running in. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to apologize. No, I've never apologized for that. So number one, stop apologizing. These people would love to be at home with their children and be able to work at home and be at home. I'm sure many people are admiring the fact that you get to work at home and be with your children when they're having to go to work or commute an hour or half hour or 2 hours to go to work. So don't apologize, okay? Number two, and I don't know if I'm going to number all these, but the other thing I would suggest to you is the more prepared you are, the more you're going to be able to do, right? And I would teach this to an individual, even if, for example, they were really strapped for time, they had extremely limited time to build their business. And a person that either has extremely limited time to build their business, or if, I think to some extent you probably have limited windows of time because you never know when they're going to run in or need you for something and be, wanting to play with the blocks or the toys or the train set or the choo-choo, whatever. You never know when that's going to happen. So you being prepared is going to be advantageous in helping you to make use of those small windows of time, like a nap time. Kids taking a nap, you've got your prospect list with you, you're ready, you can get into revenue producing activities. And that's the other thing is not only being prepared for it, but making sure that because you're at home with the children, honestly, most of your time for you and everybody else for that matter should be focused on revenue producing activities. There's nothing more important than reaching out to a prospect about your product, your service, or your business. That is the activity that leads to revenue. So again, preparation, right? Having your prospect list with you wherever you go, and don't lose sight of the small little windows that you might have in your day with your children. Same thing with a super busy person. This is something I teach all the time with people that don't have time. 5 minutes is an invite. 10 minutes could be a couple of invites. 15 minutes could be a few invites. And the other thing about that, because you have that time constraint and you don't know when they're going to wake up from their nap, you are forced to be more efficient, right? You don't really have the time to get into these long conversations and chit chat, blah, 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 and the conversation just keeps on going. If I was a stay-at-home dad with kids that I don't know when they're waking up, I'm like, hey, John, Todd Falcone, what's up, brother? Checking in with you. Listen, I've got something I want to share with you. I've only got a few minutes. My kid's taking a nap. I don't know when he's going to wake up, but I wanted to share this exciting business that I'm doing with you, or whatever your invite might be. You can set it up to be more efficient in your use of time in order to make that happen. Now, there's obviously other options as well, and one of those options would be, having somebody that can come over and watch your kids. Like, there was a period of time where with my first child, I had a nanny, and I had my brother's ex-girlfriend that worked with us for a few years with our first kid, and we had her there 5 days a week at one point. And this is an investment. Yes, it costs you money, but if you really want to free up more of your time, then having some help around the house can certainly enable you to do that. Now, look, I didn't, and this is something like, one of the beautiful things about being at home is we can be with our kids, right? We can, which is very different than leaving at 7 in the morning and coming back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and having zero connection with your children all day long. Beautiful thing is, if you have a nanny, they can be kind of, doing the stuff and laundry and other things and, entertaining your child. And if you want to go give your kid a hug and say hi and spend some time there and then get back in the office, you get the best of both worlds. You don't have to leave the house, and many people still are stuck at home. So I get the situation. I've dealt with it myself. And here's the other thing. Okay, so Todd, I can't afford a nanny. I'm a single mom, or I'm a single dad. I got young kids. I was going to work. Now I'm working at home, and my kids aren't going to school like they would normally be going to school. Then again, that comes down to preparation for you. That comes down to, you can't afford to not be prepared. You can't afford to just, sit down in front of your computer or at your desk and go, what the heck am I going to do next? It's like, boom, I got 10 minutes here. I'm going to make a few reach outs. Oh, I got 15 minutes here. I'm going to get this done. And also, I don't look, from a multitasking standpoint, now, I am a big believer in wherever you are, be there. It's something that I talk about all the time. Your presence is your greatest present, right? But when I say that, I'm referring to, if you're out on a date night, be on a date night. If you're on the phone with a prospect, don't be staring at your computer like trying to do a Facebook post at the same time. But seriously, you could be doing the dishes and making prospecting calls. You could be doing the laundry and making prospecting calls. You could be cooking a meal for your kid and doing reach outs for your business. Who cares if, and I wouldn't even oh, wait, what's that sound? I'm doing the dishes while I'm talking to you, man. It's like, look, so what? You can multitask that kind of thing, but I certainly wouldn't suggest multitasking in, like I said, you're trying to talk to somebody and you're trying to tweet something out at the same time because your focus is deviated. Like, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. There are certain things that you can do at the same time. So look, again, it comes down to, you got limited time. You got kids pulling on you at all hours. I would say, if you're doing something like the dishes, the laundry, cleaning up, maybe not when you're vacuuming, probably because it's a little bit too noisy, but you can still get stuff done. And again, I don't think anybody should ever apologize for working from home and being there with their children. Yes, it's a challenge. It's not an insurmountable challenge. Even if you had somebody come over, and it's like, I can't afford a full-time nanny. Fine, you can afford somebody to come over for a couple hours a day. You can afford to have somebody come over and give you a window of time. But one thing I got to tell you, in that 2 hours or whatever, that's like, that your children are handled, that time's got to be uber efficient. That means no messing around. Got to be totally focused. And again, this whole philosophy, if you will, of doing things comes, it's the same thing that I would teach somebody who is really, really strapped for time and has an incredibly busy schedule, because that's essentially what you have. You have a busy schedule and you don't know when they're going to come a call in, right? Or they're going to wake up from a nap. And honestly, if a kid wakes up from a nap and they're crying, boom, go get them out of the crib and say, listen, my baby's crying, and continue the conversation. You might shorten the conversation if they're screaming and colicky or something like that, and have to end the conversation and get back to them in a little bit. but don't ever apologize, right? You can do this. You can absolutely make this happen and be able to be with your children in the situation that we're in and still be able to put time into your business. But again, it comes down to preparation. It comes down to efficiency. It comes down to focus. It comes down to making use of the in-between times, those little small pockets of time that you have throughout your day. That's going to help you. And if you do this every single day, if you do it daily, and this is the way you are daily, that compound effect over time is going to lead you to creating more money, which if you can't afford a nanny now, you may be able to afford one in the future, or more hours, or whatever the situation might be. So anyhow, love you guys. Appreciate you for plugging in. If you are listening to me on my podcast, come on over to my website. It's this episode you'll find at toddfalcone.com/episode 99. If you're on YouTube, I love my YouTube folks. What's up, YouTubers? Come on over to my website as well. I'd love to hear some comments from you. And by the way, if you are a stay-at-home entrepreneur with children and there's something you want to add to this conversation, you're like, hey, this is what I do. I want to hear it. Love to hear from you. But listen, thank you so much for being here. Again, come on over to toddfalcone.com/episode 99, especially if you're listening to me on audio or if you're on my YouTube channel. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Have an epic day. Stay fearless, my friends. We'll see you on the next one.